In the new comedy Sacramento, Michael Cera and his co-star director, Michael Angarano, plays longtime friends who really want to help each other out as soon as they figure out which one has a problem. Take a look.
You're going through something. You need my help. So instead of playing all these games, why don't you just tell me what's going on? Maybe I can help, maybe not. But this is about you.
Glenn, you might not like how this sounds, but what you're doing right now is textbook projecting. Now, projecting is when you're talking
I know
about...
what projecting is.
I let you speak.
Okay, go ahead.
Projecting is when you're talking about yourself, but you think you're talking about someone else.
And that's exactly what you're doing.
Well, I would suggest I'm right then.
But I'm not projecting, you are.
Now, that's just called gaslighting. Gaslight.
I know what gaslighting is, and you're the one doing it, to me.
Please welcome Michael Cera and Michael Angarano. Welcome to The View, y'all. Joy,
That was
Joy has
hilarious.
the first
I have the
question.
first question.
Yeah.
Yes.
So your film Sacramento was funny and heartfelt, and you co-wrote and directed it.
I did.
Wow. Good for you.
Thank you.
And you make wonderful co-stars as Ricky and Glenn. What drew you to create this story about two best friends at this point in their lives? And how much of this is autobiographical?
How much do you project?
And by the way, I so enjoyed that little thing about projection. We're into psychology here.
Yeah. Thank you.
Have you touched on transference yet? That's also a good one.
Maybe in the sequel.
Yeah.
I'm heavy on individuation right now.
Individuation is good.
I started writing this with my friend Chris Smith. We're both actors. This was 10 years ago. We were in a pilot together, and the pilot didn't get picked up. Oh. And so we were unemployed actors.
Lucky for us.
Yeah.
Lucky for the world.
Exactly. And we were driving on the freeway and saw a sign that said 5 North Sacramento. And I was like, hey, you want to go to Sacramento? And he said, sure, let's go on a long drive to a city I know nothing about and have no desire to be in.
Right.
And that was the
rest is history.
The genesis of the film, basically. Wow. So 10 years.
So I grew up in Sacramento. I was like,
Right.
somebody made a movie about Sacramento. Although I guess Lady Bird actually took place there, so we do get our due occasionally.
Yeah.
But Michael A., so as the director, it's on you to kind of troubleshoot issues as you're going. On the long car rides, are you actually filming in a car? How much of that is acted, and what are some of the things you ran into on set?
Oh no, we made that drive.
Oh, wow.
We were in the road.
I've done that drive many times.
Yeah, it's a good drive. It's a good drive. It's 6 hours, which is long enough for it to get very boring. No, the shoot went really well. It was the day before the shoot, however, where, it's been a long process, 10 years in the making, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go on a mental health break. I'm gonna check myself into a spa, Palm Springs, and I was really relaxing when I got a text at 6:30 in the morning from Mike saying, I have an insane favor to ask of you. And I'm like, okay, this is it. Movie's over. He's pushing. He's pushing the film. I called the producers. I was like, guys, it's over. Mike's out. And
This is before you even spoke to him.
Yeah.
this is before day one of shooting. Literally.
Yeah. This is an internal narrative. That's
Yes,
what I hear.
I knew he was supposed to get on a plane later that day.
Right.
And then he didn't respond to me, and I was like, oh my God, it's so bad he can't even respond to me. He's like, he can't even bring it to his heart. And then at 1:30 in the afternoon, he texts me.
Can I borrow a guitar while we're shooting the movie? That was it. But the thing is, I calculated everything badly.
Melodrama.
I watched a master class by this guy, Chris Voss, called The Art of Negotiation.
Yes.
And it said if you want something, you have to really make it seem like you're asking a really big favor. And then when it's just nothing, the person will be so relieved they'll be happy to do it for you.
And
But
it's so
I didn't know you were not supposed to leave like 5 hours in between.
That's why they call it a timely fashion.
I went to breakfast and I just didn't check my phone for a
I
few
think he
hours.
forgot he even said anything.
That's why you always ask for more money than they're going to give you in a negotiation.
Right.
Good to know.
Good one.
You know.
Well, now you're both named Michael, so I'm going to do it this way. Michael C., you've starred in fan favorites like Superbad, Judo, right? Michael A., you were in beloved projects like Sky High and This Is Us. You were both in huge TV series when you were like 13 and 14, when you were kids. Michael A., you were in Will and Grace.
Yes.
Michael C., Arrested Development.
Yeah.
So what did what did you learn from working on those types of comedies?
Everything, really, for me. I mean, but yeah, I mean, that was, I was a child and
Yeah.
was working with people that I still, think are some of the most like elite, funny, and wonderful actors, and just learned everything watching them. Went in completely terrified and just put my whole process together by copying everyone around me.
Wow.
So yeah.
Same. I mean, Sean Hayes, Megan Mullally, Deborah Messing, Eric McCormick. They're comedic geniuses.
Yeah.
And they all come from theater too. So they're like really.
Yeah.
They're watching them rehearse and watching them prep and watching them create some of these what would become like these iconic moments on the show that weren't written, that they were just like giving themselves the freedom to find it in rehearsal. It was, and also like Sean would just hang out on set. He wouldn't like go back to his room. He would just hang out. Like he wanted to be a part of it.
You guys need to go on Smart List together because you've got Will Arnett and Sean Hayes. Like, bring it all full circle.
Yeah.
True.
It is full circle. And you guys were part of the ultimate 2023 summer blockbuster moment, Barbenheimer, which was created for getting people back to the theaters. But Michael C., you were in Greta Gerwig's Barbie as Alan. Not Ken, but just the Alan. And a doll who had to keep reminding all the Barbies and Kens of his existence. So do you feel like Alan's finally getting the respect he deserves?
I think he gets a fine amount of look at that. Yeah, it was kind of an amazing thing to like be part of such a juggernaut thing, but be like nowhere near the the center of it. Like I don't believe I'm on the movie poster, which I think
Well, you're Alan.
Yeah, I think it's a little late for them to reconsider that, but it was like great because I hardly got recognized as Alan. In fact, my nephew went and saw the movie. He was like 4 years old with my sister, and at the end he was like, I thought Uncle Michael was going to be in this movie.
Amazing.
So it was great.
You really became Alan.
You did. Now, Michael A., I know we're running out of time, but you played Robert Serber,
Yes.
the physicist who briefed scientists on the Manhattan Project and Christopher Nolan's Oppenheimer, which I just thought was phenomenal. It was such a fantastic film. It won the Oscar that year for Best Picture. What was it like knowing you were working for Christopher Nolan? I mean, that's sort of a legend.
Yeah, he's amazing. He definitely has a presence about him. Like he's a throwback to like the directors of like the olden days. Like he's like a David Lean or Cecil B. DeMille. Like there's a real presence about him. You don't question who's the director, but I got a little schooling from him because a couple of days before my first day of filming, I was doing all this research on my character and I realized he had a very severe speech impediment. Yeah. And so, and I auditioned and there was no sign of speech impediment in the script or anything. But I was like, he's just such a stickler. He's Christopher Nolan. He should know about this. So I basically day one.
He's like, oh no.
My day one, I tell Cillian Murphy, it's a walk and talk with Cillian. And I'm like, I think I have to pitch him this idea. He's like, don't.
Absolutely do not.
He's like, just do it. And I said, well, that's crazy. I'm not just gonna do it. So I pitched him the idea right before we're about to shoot, take one, and he's kind of looking at me. He's like, and then I'm like, so what do you think? And he just goes, the film is called Oppenheimer, not Cerber. Just don't try and steal the scene. And I was like, well, exactly. That's why I want to tell you about it, to see what you think. He ended up being really nice about it. He was like, Michael, that was great, after the first take.
Wow. Oh, my God.
First takes. Just before the first day, you got to, maybe fool yourself about when you're going to start shooting.
No, I know. A little bit of prep. A little bit of prep work should show up to the rehearsal.
It's nice to have you all here.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much.
Our thanks to Michael Angarano and Michael Cera. Sacramento opens exclusively in theaters April 11th. April 11th, go see it. You will laugh.